All right. Well, just go ahead and introduce yourself and how you got started with the Villanos and kind of your backstory with dogs.
All right. My name is Nikolas Agirre. I was born in London, United Kingdom. I grew up with my dad's grandparents, which my uncles were hunters of feathers of birds, and there was always dogs at home. So I've been around dogs since I've been in Netkins. And I've always liked dogs. In London, I grew up in the east end of London. You might notice a bit of an accent. I don't usually speak English. And I had some German Shepherd dog there. I liked the Jack Russell Terrier. I had a Pit Bull Terrier when I was a youngster. My favourite dog was a Pit Bull. Until in 1995, I came across the Villano de Las Encartaciones, which is a dog origins in the Basque Country, my mother's homeland. And, I started to get interested. But my first time I've come across this dog, I was around the age of 6 in 1972 in a farmhouse in the valley of Carranza, in the Encartaciones, and it was a Villano. It was tied to the barn. Told me not to touch it. I said, what was it used for? They said it was used for the cattle and also to hunt wild boar. But then, that was when I was a kid. Never really knew the name of it or nothing of the dog. And then I came across it in 1995. And in 1997, I had my first litter. And I've tried to maintain I think is a good line of Villanos de las Encartaciones.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, it was no mentor, it was the dog itself, because, it was a working dog, it still works. It still works, and, and I came across some people, from how can I say, an organisation of the Basque government who maintained the dogs, because this dog was in danger of extinction. I'll tell you a bit of the history of the dog.
Yeah.
Around the 1950s, early 60s, the Basque handlers used dogs to handle the cattle. More than handling, it was to capture them in the mountains, because it was bad access. You couldn't go by vehicles. You had to go on horseback or on foot, and you would go with these dogs. At first, back in the day, they used to have two types of dogs in this region. This region, where the dog originates from, is in the province of Vizcaya, the Basque Country, northern Spain, and the dog originates from border areas as could be Burgos and Cantabria. And at first they used two sort of dogs. They had a heavy dog which they call a presa, which I could translate into English to being like a lockjaw sort of dog, a lockjaw, presa. And then they had another sort of dog, a villanuco, a smaller type of, it was little crossbred dogs, shepherd dogs, greyhounds, maybe a touch of a boxer, or even, I dare to say, wolf and all, because we have wolves in these areas. Anyway, around that time, they used the villanucos, the lighter dogs, to chase the cattle down from the hills to the valleys, where the cattle men, the herders, the handlers, would be waiting there with the pressers. These were heavy dogs. Once the cows or the bulls would come down, these dogs would lock onto the cattle, onto the nose, onto the ear. Thus, the cattle herders would tie the cattle up and take it to the village or if it was
fácil de adiestrarlo, muy noble con los animales domésticos de casa y cuando vas por el campo también. Y vamos, que es un perro excelente para el tema para cazar en corto.
A young cow, a young cattle calf, and it needed to be vaccinated or whatever. But how can I say, during the years, the method of capturing the cows, because these cows were semi-wild, where they lived in the mountains, they were semi-wild, and you needed the dogs to capture the cows, otherwise it was very different. But nowadays they have different methods, and with time, these dogs have gone in decrease. Going on decrease, where it was a working dog and it was made for this purpose, it went in decrease. What they done, they crossed the pressure with the Villanucos, these lightweight dogs, and made what we call today the modern Villano de Las Encartaciones, which is the dog that I have, and how can I say, my favourite dog, I've had pit bulls all my life, Jack Russells, German Shepherd, but once I come across the Villano de las Encartaciones, I'm full. It's a dog that can be used for many a thing. It's a very intelligent dog, very intelligent dog. It's very noble and loyal to its owner. It's a good guard dog. It's an all-rounder. Mm-hmm. and it's from our homeland.
Right. Can you talk about some of the functions that they're used for today?
Well, today the most common used here in northern Spain and lots of parts of Spain where the dog has been moved to. They use it for hunting wild boar. You know, back in the day, the farmers, they wanted dogs that would do the work, hold the cattle, don't damage the cattle, give the farmer time to tie the cattle up and bandage the eyes so the cattle can't see, so it'll be more easier for its handling. But the dogs, the Villanos that maybe would come out, that would go for the adders or the tail or whatever, the dogs that go to the rear end of the cattle, they would be sold or given to wild boar hunters. And today, to tell the truth, the main function of the Villanos, the people who have got them are wild boar hunters. They're very good because they're a dog that they've been used, to capturing the cows, and they were used to working as a group, in a team. They're very social with the other dogs. They don't have the tendency to fight over the prey once the prey is dead. And well, there's always, our talk as a Villano is very good, but like in all breeds, you've always got one example of them that's very bad or whatever. That's in all dogs. But generally, they're very social dogs. They can be used for everything. We've got one dog that was bred by me that is the first rescue dog to be qualified in the world as a rescue dog in the breed of the Villano, and he's doing extremely good. The international judges have seen him, and they're very, very, very surprised with the potencia, with how potent it is, the capacity of working, its intelligence and the happiness it has when he's working, and he can work for hours and hours. This dog is a dog that he works hand by hand with the Basque police if someone goes missing, and he's very, very efficient, very, very efficient.
Sal. Sal. Ako, Pandora. Hut. Iya, sal. Get. Sal.
Is the breed recognized by any registry at this point?
It's recognised, yes. I think in Asia, in South America, in Europe, I'm not very good with dates of this, but it was recognised in the Basque government around 2003, I think. 2003, 2004, it became legalised. And we've got there's the National Club of Villano de Las Encartaciones which have changed. How can I say it? 4 years ago, they changed the directive people in the club, and we started moving it a bit. And now we've, for example, my dogs, I've got a certificate saying of pure breed, and with the club we're doing genealogical investigations, and we're doing quite good with the breed.
Mm-hmm.
It's recognised since 2004. At one time, around 1997, there was only 80 dogs and bitches that were recognised as Villanos. But now, in the genealogical book, there is around 500.
There's 100 or less, but that's good to hear that there's more. And because just from what I've seen from the breed, it's fascinating, and it's a beautiful, stunning dog that looks like it could do all the kinds of work that we look at things like the Belgian Malinois or the German Shepherd, and it looks like it could do all that work and then some. And so I think it's great.
It can do. It is doing. I'll tell you a little story. Look, this dog Makur, we went for every year. He has to pass an international. They usually go to Holland or France. Last year, I think they've done it in Spain or France. I can't remember when this happened. He passes the test, and then there was a Dutch instructor judge. When I mean instructor, he's the one that teaches the people to be judges in the rescue world. And Makur presented himself at this contest or whatever, it's exhibition or whatever it was, where this judge was. And no, it was one of his. He was passing a test, yes. And Iñaki, the dog handler, Makur had to find 3 victims. He found the first 2 victims. On the 3rd victim, Iñaki was getting a bit nervous because the time was running out, and the judge was up in the mountains, and he could see, and hear Makur had found the 3rd victim. But Iñaki could not hear Makur barking, called the dog, and of course failed the trial. The dog did not fail, the handler did. Anyway, in that contest there was 14 dogs, 13 Belgian Malinois and 1 Villano de las Encartaciones, Makur. When they all finished the trials, they all got in a circle with their dogs, and the judge, with a translator into English, said something like, the dog that has worked and best performed the trial, and he pointed to Makur and said, it's this dog. And I didn't even know its breed. I heard that when Iñaki told me this, because Iñaki is a man of few words, a funny thing went in my heart. But Villano de las Encartaciones is polyvalente. He can be used for many a thing, and he's up to the standard of a Malinois. Iñaki's he's got another rescue dog which is a Malinois and all. And Makud he's a monster. He's a monster.
Yeah, well, I like the fact that they got a little bit of size to them, and still the amazing athleticism that
yeah, well, they vary in size. The size, I'm not going to go into the standard because I don't know it off by memory, but the males are from 58 centimetres to 63 centimetres, and the bitches are from 55 centimetres to 60 centimetres a la cruz, you know, to the shoulders, the way you measure a dog. Characteristics of the dogs, they usually tend to the most common colours, they're like a brindle in black or a brindle in red. You've got some thorn and all, and then their tail, when they're active and that, their tail is usually curved backwards. Is it like a scythe? You know, the things you used to use to cut the wheat? What's that called? Sickle. It's a form of a sickle. That's it.
Yeah.
A sickle. It's a rustic dog. It's his front quarters are very strong. He's not an extremely muscly dog. He's not, muscly all over the place. You know, he's got quite a short muzzle. The ears are not long, and his back legs are his back feet are a bit like the wolf. They've got a bit of a longish toes for good, action in the ground, in the woods, in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's an all-rounder dog. Like I always say, you don't really know what a Villano is until you have one, because when you've got one, they've got, they're unbelievable, and they will get far. I know they will, because what got me really for the breed is the dog himself. I don't look as much at his morphology, the way he's on the outside. What really attracts me to the dog is the way the dog is itself. Each breed of dog have certain characteristics that are similar in each other. But the Villano is what?
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. The members from the National Club of the Villano de Las Encartaciones, I myself have gone. I don't really like it. I like working trials, So the breed can come out of our frontiers. We've travelled to other regions of Spain with our dogs. For example, my dog last year, he was the best of breed in La Rioja, which I was is the judge. I understand, it's this dog and that dog and that. But that day, when you go to a dog contest, what the judge says, that's it. You can't change it, So, and some judges like one sort of line of the breed, and other ones like another sort. But yes, we do go into we do it, and once a year we always have a monographic show in Wenyes, and since 3 or 4 years back, we're doing about 3 or 4 more contests. Yes, it is getting in the ring, but not by them, and they do go. Don't get me wrong, but can you see a wild boar hunter going and exhibiting his dog with but they do go, because the people who have these dogs, they love the breed.
Right. And have you recently have gotten inquiries from other parts of the world that are interested in this breed as well?
Well, I did have last year someone from America. There's some people in London, in England, but they have gone for. It's like me. I've been breeding, but I don't breed on a grand scale. I breed to maintain, so I can have my dogs and my friends can maintain dogs. But there are people that breed them, and they're going all over Spain. Some are going. I can't really tell you they're going abroad, because I couldn't really tell you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I've tried a couple of times, but you know, people where they don't really know the breed, you know, they're a bit like scared off is the word, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you know, it's good for a company dog. I've got 3 myself. They're loose. I've got one outside that sometimes she's on a big cable because you know, she's young and I don't want her to try and get away, trying to get out, and you know, because there's farmers and everything. But my dogs are all loose. They're all loose, and they exercise in the garden if they want to go out to do their things. They're house trained.
Mm-hmm. But kind of going on that line, they could adapt to many different living situations, right? Like a smaller house or a townhome, what we call, or a flat, or they do all right as long as they got exercise.
I've seen them in all conditions. Well, dogs, I can talk about the dogs that I've bred, and you know, some have gone to farmhouses, some have gone to chalets, some have gone to flats, apartments. It's like Mackle, the rescue dog. You know, he lives in an apartment, and he's as fit as a fiddle. But of course, that's down to the handler. That's down to the handler. The handler has to know the condition of his dog.
And do they do okay with, say, like smaller dogs and cats if raised with them?
If raised, yes. Like any dog, I suppose. If raised, yes. But from the farmhouses and all that, you know, when I used to go at the beginning, when I started my, you know, with the Villano, I used to go to the valley of Carranza and see the farmhouses and talk with the cattle herdlers. You know, and you would have them loose. They would be loose, you know, and there'll be chickens walking around. Chicken might jump over his back, but then once the farmer comes the dogs up because they need to go to work, they change. Now they change. I did see there is some young ones, for example, you know, that if they're young and they go to the cattle, and maybe if you leave them loose where he's young and he's, you know, he doesn't know that he has to go, but it's, how can I say, he doesn't know that he only has to catch the cattle when he's older, but that's with time. But yes, they're good with kids. I've got dogs now that, you know, that are living in family houses with young children. I've got one dog that is guarding. It's a free range egg farm, and he's 110 hens under his charge, and he lives with a little dog. He's a little male, one of these Maltese things, you know, one of these, you know, these hairy things.
Right.
I can't remember. A Maltese, I can't remember what their name. They've got bad temper. He's got bad temper, this one.
I bet. They all seem to, those little ones.
We have one member of the national club of the Villano de Las Encartaciones who is in the other end of Spain. We're up in the north, well, he's right at the south where it's very hot, and he's got quite a few Villanos, and he's very happy with the breed. He's doing his part. He's showing them off in his area, in his part of the woods, you know, and he's very happy. And then I asked him how they're with the heat. They're all right. But you know yourself, is dogs. What does a dog want to find in the summer? What he wants to find is the shade, the same as the wolf. You know, is this when I see someone here, 2 o'clock at midday when the sun is more shining and they're walking their dog up and down the high road. You know, the heat, the dogs, personally, they like the shade. You know, I think the Villano is more, he defends himself better in the cold.
Right. Interesting. So what, is there any future plans with the club? What direction are they trying to go right now? Is there anything that they're trying to push, or just keep trying to get the word out?
We're trying. The most important thing that the club is trying to push out to everyone who's got Llanos is to register them, to register them in the genealogical book of the club, of the breed, which they've got the book of the breed. And very, very important, when they are going to cross to breed Villanos, make sure to tell the club so the pups can be registered, the litter can be registered like that, giving them the CMVE, which is the origins of it's the book of it's the qualification we give, CMVE. Okay,
interesting.
And that's what we're trying to push, because if you have a litter and the male and the female are registered Villanos and they have a litter, automatically them dogs become Villanos with a CMVE number.
Awesome. Yeah.
We're also working in a program to do with DNA, and also to have control of the mating, so it will be clean breeding. There will be no mixture, no too much same blood and that. And also we're working on having a sperm bank, is it?
Right.
We're doing everything. Well, everything that the club, the national club of the Villano de Las Encartaciones is doing, everything we are doing, we are having instructions from the Basque government, because all their technicians, their laboratories, they're all working with us. So everything we're doing, they ask this, we do it. They ask that, we do it. In change, they're helping us with DNA research and everything. So we're trying to do everything correctly. We've also started we've got a web page, which I think I gave you the link.
Yeah.
And we keep on with the breed. It's and it's a breed that still today it's catching semi-wild cattle in the mountains here, under strange circumstance where it's a bit it's needed. Well, they will go with a couple of dogs. The dog will lock onto the cattle with no blood calls, and then the cattle handler will tie it up. But like I said, it's in very extreme cases. And now where it's like many years ago, some people come from the south of Spain, and there was a young boy who was about 7 with his dad, farmer, cattle herder, and these men, they said, and these dogs catch the wild boar. And the young boy says, "Are you stupid? How can it not catch a wild boar if a cow is 4 times bigger than a wild boar?" If you get what I mean there.
Yeah.
One thing of Villano, and people like Iñaki, the man from the rescue dog, Makur, the Villano does not see danger. He does not see danger. That's one of his prejudices, one of his bad things. He doesn't see danger. He's all there, He's all there. And like I said, to be in between so many Malinois, Belgian Malinois, and the judge to give the merits to the Villano, that means that must mean something for itself, yes?
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Something I like to that what you said was in our previous conversation that you were pushing for some of these boar hunting dogs to wear vests. I like that idea. If I was going to have such a dog,
around my valley, you know, at first they were, you know, how can we use? We don't need the vest. It slows the dog down, this and that. But now everyone knows, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's very easy to lose a dog to a boar, very easy.
Yeah.
And a vest, you know, you have to buy it, or for your dogs it's going to be an outlet of money. But at the same time, you know, you're doing a favour for your dogs, a terrible favour for your dogs and for yourself. And like I say, the majority of hunters, you know, hunting is not a hobby to me. The hunters I know, it's an addiction. It's, you know, they live for it.
Mm-hmm.
And their dogs, they look after their dogs and everything. It's, it's, you know, and to tell the truth, I haven't been this year. I usually accompany a hunting gang, and to tell the truth, all the dogs that go to catch, they wear vests, and inclusive some of the bay dogs, you know, the hounds, they also take vests and all.
What kind of breeds do you like today, besides Villano? If you were gonna, you know, have the space and the time and the money to have multiple dogs, what are your top 3 dogs that you like right now?
The dogs that I like right now will accept the Villano, because there's always going to be Villano with me.
Mm-hmm.
I love the American pit bull terrier, you know, for many of his qualities. And I also like the Jack Russell Terrier, the English one. There's an American version, but I like the little short one, the Charlie Chaplin dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, a ratonero. Here we have them. They're called ratters, ratoneros. You know, it's like a Jack Russell.
Right.
You know, but the little dog was very intelligent. These little ones are very intelligent. Apparently, when there's ever a war, the only dogs that you see at the end of the day knocking around are the little ones. Because I suppose they'll even eat ants. But the big dogs, apparently, they disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But the little dogs, they're always around. They're the clever ones. I'm going to show you a photo of my ratonero. So you can see.
Oh, yes. Right.
There she is with a puppy. Her name was Lady. She lived to the age of 17. Very, very intelligent dog. Look what my wife said, and she doesn't understand English. She said demasiado, that means too much. When I said very clever dog, my wife said too much.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I have met, and the gang that I usually accompany, they do have for hunting. They use Jack Terrier. You know the Jack Terrier, the German one.
Yes. What are they like?
Very, very vicious little dog. Right. We even put a vest on them. The one I knew, all he wanted to do was to lock onto the wild boar. And even when he used to go hunting, he died. This one, he died of old age. When he didn't go killed, but he died of old age. Anyway, this dog, when he used to go hunting, when they used to take him out of the 4x4, and you know they wanted to put his owner would put his the vest on. The dog he's putting the vest on, and the dog's giving it growling away.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember on one occasion, there was a big boar in a thorn bush, and it cut up 3 dogs of ours. They all lived, and you know the farmers there, bloody hell! Look at the boar, and they said we'll have to let Pincho out. Pincho means like hook. We'll have to let Hook out. And all the farmers and their wives are going, oh, what's this dog going to be like? Because the others are big dogs. What's this one going to be like? What's this one going to be like? you know, and all of a sudden you get Pincho, and he was a Jack Terrier, and they're giving it, that's Pincho. Well, Pincho was the one that pulled it out of the thorn bush, and his dog handler shot him between the eyes, yes, shot the ball between the eyes.
Wow.
Big MF. Big MF he was.
Yeah, right. That's a great story. That's awesome.
I've given villanos, there's people who say that, you know, no one, cualquiera no vale para tener un villano. Everybody is not suited to have a villano.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that could be true. But I've given various villanos, male and female persons that have never had a dog, and they have had no trouble with them. They have had no trouble with them. No trouble. And the Villano is a very easy dog to train. You know, it's very easy to train. He's very loyal to his owner.
Mm-hmm.
And he's quite a social dog. But like I say, all dogs before the age of 4 months should be introduced to other dogs and should be socialised. If you pass the 4-month stage and your dog is with you and you're only your family and that, and you don't take it out to meet the public and other dogs and that, it's not very good. It's not very good. It's always wise, you know, to socialise your dog, you know, as early as the age of 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, what kind of diet do you feed your Villanos? What do you think is the best diet for them?
Well, there could be there could be many diets. I think the most important diet is to feed them. Feed them. What? How can I say? Now it's coming winter, but I use pienso. I can, you know, dog food. It's you know, I don't go for the cheap stuff. I buy it from a pet shop that got their vets there, and they make their own dog food, dried dog food, you know, and it's very good. I noticed the dogs are healthy with it. It's a maintenance one. And in the winter months, I like to make rice with, you know, with a bit of minced meat or skeletons from the carcass of a chicken. I might crush a shell of an egg in there or two, a bit of garlic chopped up. The garlic, always do it at the end. Once it's all been mixed up and it's all ready for them to eat and it's cold, no good to give dogs warm dinner, hot dinner, you know. Warm, you know, it's better to be cold than to be hot. And then at the end, when it's all ready, I'll get a clove of garlic and I'll chop it up and put it in there, and that's what I give them.
Awesome.
I like this. I don't buy them no chewing things or none of that. After they've eaten their dinner or during the day, I like to give. They like it a lot. I like to give them bits of dry bread. You know, these baguettes. These, how can I say? You know, these sort of breads. Can you see it?
Yeah, the baguettes. Yeah.
It goes hard. When it goes hard, I'll give it to them, and you know, it's good for them.
Do you feed them once a day or twice a day?
I feed them once. And before I met my wife, on Sundays I never used to feed them because I was told by a few vets. One of them's a friend of mine, and she said it's good to leave the dogs without eating 1 day a week. It's for their stomach or something. It's good for them. I used to do that, and my dogs were perfect. And I used to give them meat on a daily basis because I had a restaurant, you know, a family restaurant next to us. You know what? I lost because my wife's looking at me in a weird way. When my wife, you know, she realised that I didn't feed the dogs on a Sunday, she says, "No, Nico, that's out of order. Start feeding the dogs every day of the week, Sunday included. Otherwise, I'll leave you Sunday with no dinner." So my dogs eat on a daily basis. Only once. I like to give them around 6, 7 o'clock in the evening.
Okay.
Oh no! Now, when I breed puppies, I like to give the mother good food. I also give her one fresh yogurt a day to help her produce more milk. And then when the pups are around the age of 21, 24 days, I start to get them onto food. I stop the mother giving them milk, feeding them, and then I'll start them on food. I'll start giving them, the gifts or the dry food which their mother has been eating for puppies, and I make her like a puree, and I let them eat that. And then as soon as they start eating solid food, which is puppy food, it's the best. And the more expensive, this is where it's, you notice it on the pup. There's a difference of buying a sack of 25 kilos for 15 euros. There's a hell of a difference of buying a sack of 20 kilos for 65, 70 euros. You know where you see it on the puppy?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have any future breedings planned?
Yes. I've got one definitely, and I'm working on that now, so it's a clean cross. And what I want, Iñaki, the man in the rescue world with Makud, he told me many years ago that he never repeats on a dog. He's had different breeds. He's been in the rescue world for 40 years, and he's never repeated on a breed. And I told him when he first took one of my Villanos, he will repeat, and he laughed. And now he says, "You are very right, Nick. I am going to repeat." Yeah. So I don't put money with my dogs. Dogs is my hobby, is what I like in life. So I don't put money into it. What I would like, Iñaki, his next Villano is also going to be a rescue dog, and I would like it to be a son of Makud. So now I'm making plans with bitches and this and that. So when Makud is around the age of 7, okay, so we can breed him, so Iñaki can have a son of Makud to continue in the rescue work.
Right. So what is the average lifespan that you've noticed with your dogs?
Pardon, the average?
Lifespan?
Well, I've got a bitch here that's coming on to 9 years old. I've had various that lived to 12. Last year, my dog, my bitch, her father died last year at the age of 17. Wow. He was a bit deaf. He still could see something. Never, ever had no medical problems, no suffering from dysplasia. The only trouble we did have was, what's it called? How do you say prostata in English?
The prostate?
That's right. That's the only problem he had. We wanted to cross him when he was at the age of 12, which was the limit, and we didn't have he didn't have no sperm count.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He was a very good dog. He was a very good dog. Even the municipal guards in the village he lived knew him, and they would let him go loose. He was always next to his owner. Didn't have no special training, but he was always doing, a force, a heel, and always paying attention at his owner's face. And he was a companion dog, and he lived to the age of 17. He was, wow. They thought he was going to die, and he kept on, and in the end they said, they decided to sleep him. But the vet had told them to sleep him a year before. But when they saw the dog, he went out, he lived in a farmhouse, and he was happy, and he'd lie down in the sun, and he'd eat all right, and he was doing his things well and that. And just at the end, where he just couldn't handle it no more, which I think is a good decision. Anyone who's got a dog and loves a dog or has a relation, dog, man, person, which is a great bond. Before you see your dog suffer, Africa, put him down.
Mm-hmm.
It's my opinion.
I agree.
Why maintain a dog suffering? Why maintain a dog suffering when it's, you know, it's going to be a sure end? Mm-hmm. So the best thing is to take to the vet, and you know, my belief's that, you know, we're here on Earth, animals, plants, humans, but I don't think it ends here. You know, I think we all meet up in the end, and I'm thinking I've got a lot of dogs waiting up there for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I agree with you. Yeah. Well, do you have any last words, any messages, anything you want to say at the end here? And we'll... You
know, if someone's interested in a Villano, I'll cheer them on to try this new breed, or at least to get interested and find out a bit about the breed, to get in contact with the National Club of Villano de Las Encartaciones, you know, and, you know, it's not one of these dogs that are worth unbelievable amounts of money. It's a dog that is, you know, how can I say, okay, I've had a person that I've heard that someone's offered €3,000 for his bitch, but the usual price of a Villano is around €500 with all the documentation.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious, but we're doing all the correct steps.
And
Sean, we're trying to do all the correct steps to maintain everything good. We're going to have a program. We're working on a computer program. You know that all at a touch of a fingertip. You know with what males you can breed your Shire with or whatever. Oh, Villanos are very healthy. They are a very healthy dog. Their injuries cure extremely quickly. You know, their thorns cut by thorns or by paw.
Mm-hmm.
And there hasn't been, I haven't known no Villanos with dysplassia. They're quite a healthy dog. Like I said, this dog was not made for fashion. It was merely and strictly and hardcore made for work. And the ones that worked well and had good temperament with man and other animals and other dogs, he kept going. And now the club is trying to organise it sort of. You know, I'm happy with what the club is doing. There are people that are not so happy with what the club is doing. But everyone's got, you know, everyone's got their free decision. You know, but you know, like I said, we're under instructions by the Basque government and their vets and their scientists, and we're trying to do everything correctly, nothing else. The last thing I want to say to if anyone who's watching us is, you know, to get a bit of interest in the breed. If you like dogs like me, you know, he's asked me, it's an old breed, but at the same time it's a modern breed because it's not known a lot. But like I say, it's still working. It's still a working breed. And you know, and it's got. I use them. What do I use them for? For company. To have walks in the countryside. In 10 minutes, I'm in the middle of a forest, and they guard my house. They're very good guard dogs. And where I'm a bit of I'm bound at home. They make me a hell of a lot of company. Thanks a lot on my behalf and on behalf of the Villano de Las Encartaciones, best cattle dog.
Awesome.
You never know. Listen, Sean, if you ever want another dog and you wanna be careful, I'll give you a Villano anytime you want. All you have to do is put the money for the transportation and all that. But I'll give you a Villano with all his credentials.
I will probably take you up on it. Give me a little bit of time, and I will probably take you up on that for sure.
Don't worry. Like I said to Iñaki, the rescue dog, he waited 2 years for Muckled. 2 years. And like I told you before, some things in life are worth waiting. And look at me. I'm a dog man. I've always loved dogs. And now I've come across the Villano. Oh.
Well, it's
one thing about the Villano, they look to strangers. They look unto strangers. All the Villanos have only got one colour of eye. Their eyes are, colour of the Villano eyes are Avellana, hazel eyes. You know, like the hazelnut.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if they come to your house, or they, you know, apart from bar, you know, they'll give you a look like, even, you know, saying like, I'm here. What do you want? I'm here. You know, and you know, but when you see his look, you know, you pay attention to it.
Yeah.
All right then, Mr. O'Brien. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you too. Thank you, Nicholas. Talk to you soon.